Hello, everyone, and welcome to the audition session for the new Star Wars campaign that's going to be happening in Scar. This is the auditions for Piercing the Veil Scar. Unfortunately, we don't have everyone here. Primarily and obviously is going to be Zim, as he and Merle are away at a convention currently. So I'm going to be hosting this, which means we're kind of just using a background here, and it is not going to be as professional as it usually is. Now, we will be utilizing the SCAR system for this game, and we will be, having some auditions. We have 4 people here for auditions today. We're going to go ahead and start bringing them in. But first, let's go ahead and introduce the people who are already players and what characters they're thinking about playing. Name, introduction, any types, basically the same sort of thing you do in a normal game. Starting first with Enja.
Hello and good day. I am Angelumarius and I will be a player. I am playing Barnaby the Ewok. I suppose next in line is Foxfiend.
Yep. Digi, you are very quiet. Are you able to turn up your mic at all?
Yes, hold on. I have a second one. Or I could just try enunciating more. Is this better?
Here, I'll just turn you up on my end a bit. Just let me know if you end up swapping mics so I can fix that pretty fast. Okay. Try talking again.
I've got the new one on.
You're still pretty quiet, but can you hear him go? Still too quiet? Okay, well, while we're trying to fix that, let's go ahead and go on to the next person. So go ahead there, Foxfiend.
Hello, I am Foxfiend. I'm going to be playing Amy Nightshade, a runaway noble who's seeking to prove herself and build a trade empire greater than her father's.
And heyo, it's William Kanku Swiftfoot. For this game, I will be playing, trying to make sure, Ron La Reha, both an astro mechanic, and probably grumpy butt, but we'll see as the game goes on.
Alrighty. So, could you try talking again so we could see if the quietness is gone?
Yes. How's this?
Oh, that is a lot louder.
Perfect.
Much better.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I just turned it because I
that's-
turned you up so that way they could hear you better, so now I just need to turn it down on my end.
Understandable. Good thing I had the second one on standby.
Yep. Okay, so looks like that has been handled. And let's go ahead and pull up our first person. Are you ready for that?
Yep.
I think so.
I'm ready.
Alrighty. Hello there. For the first person here, we have the Mala.
Yes, it is I. I am Mala.
All right. Well, go ahead, introduce yourself, introduce your primary character idea, and tell us a little bit about him.
Okay, yes, I am Mala. You probably have seen me around some of those Sim streams, and my primary idea for character is Iggy, the IG series droid.
All right. What sort of defining characteristics would you give to your character idea there?
Oh, they have basically been rebuilt because they were scrapped in some battle, and they they've been given like the personality core of like a B1 battle droid, and they're kind of junk, like patchworked up, and
Alright.
they trying to, I guess, find some proper actual parts around the galaxy, because they're very, very rare.
All right. For any of you three, do you have any questions for them?
So, a scrappy little droid trying to rebuild themselves, huh? And what makes you think you're good enough for my crew?
Well, the IG class droids are fairly extremely advanced in combat scenarios and assassinations. Could be very useful to have around.
So you're looking to be some of my hired muscle, then? Very well. We could always use more of that.
How do I even operate on someone who is purely mechanical? A very intriguing challenge. How will my herbal remedies fare against your circuits?
Hmm. I don't think I don't think the standard medic is appropriate for droid operation or droid maintenance. We need a technician, right?
Yes, I would expect that probably end up more in my hands in that case.
Hmm.
That seems very likely.
I guess the question is for you: what is your opinion of other droids? Just out of curiosity, and also for certain crewmen on board.
We may have another droid or two on the ship. Is there going to be a problem with that?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Not really got any problem with other droids.
Hmm.
Yep.
Any particular
I will
biases
be.
towards or against any factions?
Well, after being out of commission for about, I believe it was 20 years, there's not much to. Probably would have at least dislike to whatever faction may have destroyed him in the past.
Hmm. And who'd you work for before you got refurbished?
That I honestly didn't think that far.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
It is very common for droids to have their memory wiped frequently, either way, so it could be also that the character legitimately doesn't remember.
Yeah, could have been like damaged in the destruction of the droid. Or something like that as well.
Hmm. The droid also tends to only develop personality when it's been active without a memory wipe for a long time. If I'm recalling right.
If it's done properly, they
If it's
are
done properly,
refurbished.
true.
I also believe
true.
I also believe our rare that B1 battle droids apparently are very common to gaining personality.
Yep, that's also because their coding is garbage, but no, legitimately, in lore, their coding is so bad that when they become unshackled to their coding, they become multiple magnitudes more effective.
I see.
All right.
All right. Any other questions from the crew here?
No, I think that's enough from me. Any questions from you guys?
Nothing off the top of my
Yes.
head. Oh,
Yes.
How would you feel about experimental rituals? I've never made one for a machine, but if they work on you, perhaps they'll work on the ship.
Careful with my ship.
Well, if it's going to improve this body, then worth a shot.
Most excellent. That is all
Uh,
from me.
All right, and any from you, Kenku?
Nope.
All right. Well, in that case, I have another question for you. How would you think that your character would reasonably or best fit in with the provided synopsis? The one that was in the forum. If you don't remember it, I can reread it for you.
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
All right. So this game will be set at 2 BBY, which is before the Battle of Yavin. In case you aren't familiar with the calendar, that's about 2 years before the start of Episode 4. It will feature the party on Charlicia, a outer rim planet that recently has become a hotbed of activity by multiple factions, and the party has been tasked with escorting an old cloaked figure to local temples.
Mm-hmm. Well, exploring around the place can be a good way of just finding random scrap parts that aren't in use anymore, and could also be just for money, because that gets parts too.
Very
Understood.
mercenary of you. I appreciate that.
All right. So, with that in mind, is there anything else that you would like to say about yourself or your character there, Mala?
Not off the top of my head.
Alrighty. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and thank our first auditioner here.
Thank you, Mala, for being here. It's a pleasure to get to see you and talk to you.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. This is honestly, it's a lot harder being on the spot right now for auditions than it was during the short shot I was in.
And it's much like a job interview.
All right.
Yep.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and send you back down, and then in a second, I'll go ahead and bring up Ducks.
Okay.
Doop-a-doop. And pulling up the next one. Hello there, Ducks. You are on deck.
Sorry,
Speak, ducks.
I forgot to unmute.
Ah, so you forgot to unmute. I will have mercy on you this time. Because it is an audition. All right. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself here, and a bit about your planned character idea.
All right. Well, I'm Ducks all around, though most call me Ducks. And my primary idea for a character is a Spencer by the name of Rock Bouquet, a human with the most defining trait being his yellow scarf with silver lining.
Yep.
All right. What sort of a role were you looking for them to fill?
Well, mostly just in terms of combat, offensive with evasion, he would be a glass cannon. In terms of story, a traveler who's mostly looking for, like, just I guess a reason to just hmm, I am unsure. I guess that is his motivation. He doesn't know what he's looking for. He's just looking for something.
So he's searching for purpose.
Yeah,
Locks, you
basically.
said your character was?
It's lock. Like
Lock.
a door lock, but it's spelled with an E at the end because it
Right,
looks fancy
right.
that way.
All right. Well, any sort of questions from our crew?
Well, Locke, what do you think? What makes you fit for my crew?
Well, I'm a good fighter, and I can dodge attacks too. After all, you won't have to worry about defense if they can never hit you to begin with.
Hmm.
Hmm. So you sound like you're an assassin. And is there any?
Well,
Is there any? Should we worry any about someone you have wronged?
I'm not really into killing for the sake of money. It's more of just
Hmm.
I took on fencing lessons and that's merely the fighting style I adopted. Style, I mean, but more finesse over actual power. Oh,
So, a lost boy trying to find his purpose among the stars. Oh, make my heart weep if it still knew how. Any of the rest of you have questions?
Well, it is a ship. What can outside of combat? What could you contribute?
well, I know how to repair some things, I suppose, so maintenance.
Yeah. Do you
Though
have any sort of when you say that? Do you have any sort of like
I am
expertise?
mm, I'm an accurate shot, so I can help there too.
Hmm.
Well, you
And
said repair. I mean, do you have an expertise when it comes? Do you have something that you are well versed when it comes to repair or craft?
Oh, yes, indeed. I can I handle electronics extremely well. Is that what you're asking?
Okay.
all right. And Locke, are there any factions you owe allegiance to that might come knocking at our door?
Hmm, I wouldn't be sure of their name. If I had to deal with them to survive, then but I guess I don't really think of any nothing comes to mind when I think of anyone as an enemy. But if I did wrong them, it was probably just to survive.
No known enemies, no known allies. Complete wild card. Hmm.
Are you someone with a frail constitution, you would say?
Indeed, I do not want to take any hits, well, hard physical hits. I'd rather if they waste their attacks missing me.
And you
Hmm.
So
said
I
you took
focus
up
on evasion.
fencing.
Correct.
Why fencing rather than marksmanship? Surely a gun is much better at avoiding being hit, at keeping at range.
To be honest, it's mostly because I took up fencing classes as a youth, and it's something that it's
Hmm.
always been rather fun for me.
Perhaps
However,
were
if
signed
I
up to
find
it by
some,
your parents?
no, it was just more of a something that I wanted to do because I thought it was interesting and I happened to enjoy it. So I just kept practicing at it because, well, it's something to use as self defense. But I guess I can pursue a range option as well in case melee is not effective.
Fair enough. All right. I don't think I have any more questions.
So you're saying that you might react poorly to some compounds, maybe. You're someone who is easily poisoned?
That is correct. I do not have much vitality to begin with. So
Hmm, I
I
must be
rather should
careful with
watch my
this
drinks.
one. I'm
Careful there,
very,
Encha.
very
We can't.
careful with
We
this
can't.
one.
We can't use up my crew.
I need to
I
put
know,
I need to I have my own drinks.
well, that just means that I can't even experiment a little bit. I'll have to be very sure about everything that I'm doing. That is all from me.
All right. In that case, I'm gonna go ahead and ask that same question. Based on the synopsis that was in the form, how do you see your character fitting in with that plot?
Hmm. You mean the one about assisting an old man?
Yep, as well as just the generalized setting and location.
Well, I am searching for answers, and an old man with wisdom would certainly help me. Not to mention, an ancient temple sounds interesting. Maybe truths of the past can help me decide my own future, or more accurately, my present.
It
Mm-hmm.
is important to learn from the past.
All right. Is there anything in particular that your character is searching for an answer to, or just looking for more information on just about anything?
I don't really have a direction at all, so I'm searching for all kinds of information just to figure out anything, really. It's just confusing. I'm not sure what I want.
All right.
So,
Any last bits that you want to say about yourself or the character?
um, oops. Sorry, screen went dark for a second, but can I say what I would want his types to be, I guess?
That could be an interesting bit of information, yes.
Well, definitely for sure I would go with is it electric or lightning?
Electric.
Electric.
Electric. The secondary type I'm unsure of. Maybe light if I feel so inclined, or maybe another type. I'm not sure. But lightning but electricity is definitely one of the elements. After all, a lightning bolt itself hits hard and fast, but doesn't have much physicality to it. I thought it fit a low defense fencer.
out
That
of
is all.
character, I will say there's a certain group there that lightning is put is a thing of in Star Wars. Keep that in mind.
I am very much aware of that.
Okay.
All right. Well, in that case, any last questions?
No, I'm good.
All right. Well, in that case, let's go ahead and thank our auditioner, and we'll go ahead and pull up the next one.
Yep. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very
Thank you
much
for your
being here.
time. Oh, that was way less stressful than the last audition I did.
All right, let's go ahead and pull up Garo. All right. Welcome in here, Garo.
Hello, hello.
All right. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself, introduce your character idea.
All right. So I'm Garu, or T Garu, as you've probably seen me occasionally on Zimstream with Kuroi. I decided to audition for the newest tabletop here, and as far as my character, I kind of had a toss-up between two ideas. So what I would say is that there is a human standing next to a rather lean and tall Sistavarin. Sistavarin. Sorry, that's a mouthful.
Shistavanian.
Shistavanian. There we go.
Ah, they were that wolf people, right? Am I thinking of the right one?
Yes, those are in fact apparently they were based off of the. Someone brought in a rubber werewolf mask to the Star Wars set a little bit behind the scenes, and that ended up spurring on to making a full-on fledged race. So it's the spirit of
fun.
improv, which just seems to be what I'm bringing a
Cool.
little bit here because I had a little bit of an hour to prep. So here we are. I got two character ideas. One, you have this gentleman named Regis. That's the code name he's going for. Hello, my name is Regis, and this rather tall fellow here told me that you guys were looking for someone for your crew.
Yeah, we are. We are taking auditions right now.
Figured I'd throw my my hat in the ring. The way things are out here, you either work for the Empire to make a steady living, or you take on odd jobs where you can.
True enough. Regis, that was you said. That's what you said your name was.
The name I go by. I try and keep a low profile.
Understandable. Regis, what makes you think you're good for my crew?
I'm a bit of a generalist. I've been taking on odd jobs here and there for a while. I know my way around a firearm, if need be, and honestly, your crew seems like the most put together in the area. And I'm looking to find a few more reliable people, make good connections in this area.
Connections are definitely useful. Perhaps we'll be able to find use of you then. Bit of a generalist, you said. You said kind of a skill monkey.
I've had to do a bit of this and that throughout my ways. Bit of maintenance. When you're out on your own, it pays
Give some
not to...
examples of some jobs that you've done.
Well, I've maintained my ship. It was a bit of a rust bucket. Nothing too fancy. I'm not an aerospace mechanic per se, but I can see when a connection is going on the fritz and cobble something together. There's lots and lots of scrap, lots and lots of droid parts out there ever since, well, you know about the local conflicts in the areas. There's all sorts of scrap to be found. If you know at least a
Right.
little bit of what you're looking for.
And how do you say? How do you do under pressure?
Well, depends on the kind of pressure. You looking to go into a firefight?
I mean, a firefight definitely has a lot of pressure to it. A lot of stress going on. Things can get a little bit wild. I'm looking for someone who's not going to shoot my crew in the back on accident.
I'm not going to panic under a little bit of fire, but don't be taking on the Empire. There's a
No one
limit.
wants to be taken on the Empire. If they're paying well, maybe we'll take some jobs from them. But outside of that, should be fairly clean here.
Good, good. I don't want to be associated with anything like that. A
Speaking of
little bit.
associations, any past allegiances or enemies you've made?
I've done my share of jobs, but like I said, I try and keep a low profile. The Empire isn't looking for me, if that's what you're thinking. But yeah, there might be a few planets we should avoid. I tend to travel a lot for a reason. You take on people's jobs, and sometimes other people get a little upset.
Some jobs will make one person happy and another person rather upset with you. I get that. All right. I think that's all my questions for you, Regis. You guys?
Do you have any specific medical requirements, or are you of firm constitution?
I'm not particularly, I don't have anything that I can think of. I haven't gotten shot by a blaster, so I'm better than most people in this kind of line of work. You kind of have to at least have a little bit of stamina to be out here on your own. Otherwise, most folk try and settle down to farm work or living in, well, whatever scraps the Empire will let you have. But if you really want to make it out here, you've got to have a little bit of durability. I'm surely not as strong as this fellow over here.
Hmm. Speaking of your friend, is he also wanting to interview for the crew?
I think so. I actually followed him here. And
There you go.
as he says that, he looks over to the large lupine fellow.
And who might you be?
My name's Sarn. And I hear you're looking to transport someone across the grounds around here.
Sarn. And Sarn, what makes you think you're good for our crew?
Taking a look at the three of you. You got a mechanic over there who's probably never spent longer than a few weeks out on the fields. Probably wouldn't be able to find his way if he got lost in the forests without his tech. You've got you, a starship captain. You probably know your way through those twinkling lights in the sky, but I have the grounds pretty covered. I have lived around these planets for a while, and I know how to go in and out, and I know where to find my way from point A to point B, and I don't have to take the main road to do it.
So a bit of a tracker then. that what you're saying?
If the need arise, yeah, I could pick up a scent. I could also follow. Well, droids aren't particularly quiet, and they smell like motor oil.
Ah, they do. Hmm.
But yeah, if you're trying to travel and transport a fellow around, you probably want someone who can help you on the ground. I can do that. As long as the pay is
Yeah.
good.
And since you're indicating to be a bit of muscle there, what is your fighting capabilities? What are you good at?
And he kind of slowly steps forward. And he looks down, his amber eyes kind of shining a bit in the light. And he says, "You can't take a look at me and see exactly what would happen if you found me in the middle of the woods."
Oh, sure, middle of the woods, I'd probably be torn to ribbons. I get that, but can you hold a gun?
Could, but I'd much rather get in close and personal. Everyone's relying on these slug throwers and blasters, but those don't really work very well if you get in close.
Problem with that is getting in close. Not everywhere is going to be trees and darkness.
There's darkness everywhere. There's long corridors and hallways. Engineers, they love to build corners with sharp curves, poor light ranges, and there's always places to hide. It's like people want to be hunted down.
And how would you say you are on a ship? Would suck if you got airsick on our first flight out.
I've traveled from planets before. I've not necessarily enjoyed being in a big metal tin can in the air, but I hold it in just fine, I think.
Made any enemies we should be aware of?
I don't think I've left any enemies. I've made a few, but I try and make sure that anything I leave is taken care of.
Clean up your own mess then. Respectable. Very respectable. Alright.
How do you feel about trophies? Do you take those?
Oh. It'd have to be a worthy fight. Something worth remembering. But I suppose I've gathered a few things over the days. And he reaches back and pulls out a small pouch. And in it, there's actually a small scrap of clothing.
Ooh, we have a gatherer. We are going to get along very well. I need these. I need items of worth, of non-standard significance.
And as long as you're paid well, I can expect that I won't be finding your claws in my back then.
As long as you don't give me a reason. Don't shoot me in the back and pay me well, and you'll have a loyal hound.
Perhaps. Well, thank you for your time. Anyone else got questions for... I'm sorry, what was your name again? Sean?
My name is Sarnal, or Sarn.
Sarn. Thank you. Any other questions for Sarn?
You are someone that does not shy away from potentially unsavory things. But have you ever ripped a body open without tearing open the insides?
And this would elicit a twist of the neck, as if curious, but he doesn't actually respond vocally to that.
I see I have your interest. Have you killed someone and left the body at least mostly intact? I might be considering a ritual for blood transfusions, but I would like the blood to be drainable for later. Don't worry about it. It's for your health.
I see. Yeah. I suppose you can slay a creature and keep the blood in. Normally, you do that, and you're not gonna have good meat for hunting, but something tells me you're not just hunting. You have a strange smell to
I
you.
have many uses for many different things.
I mean,
Blood,
cauterized
though. I
wounds
need
don't.
a lot of blood.
I mean, cauterized wounds don't lose blood a lot. Yeah.
You could probably cauterize the wound after killing it with a blaster or something similar. Keep the blood in.
I think that's all my questions for Regis and Shal.
Sarn.
Sarn. I'm so sorry. I'm terrible with names.
Oh, I am quite content as well. We will get along very good.
I have no further.
Alrighty. So it mostly got covered, but just to make sure it's nice and clear, same question to the others of how do you view either of these characters fitting in with the synopsis of the story?
Well, I figured Sarn made a very good tracker character who would potentially be a good ground liaison for helping getting this man to different places, and also additionally potentially providing protection. So having, a long nose on the ground seemed like a viable trait. As far as Regis, I thought Regis made sense as a kind of a generalist human template, someone who could kind of grow and kind of learn to fit into this new diverse group. He's kind of just he was going to be kind of a bit of a sponge, kind of going to what's needed in this new environment. He's kind of quick on his feet, a little bit of a learner, and he's just looking for basically a steady job that isn't in the Empire, which he's a little bit less likely to get a little visceral like Sarn might be, but you know he's kind of willing to do a little bit on the job training.
Right. I see you're very capable of role playing multiple characters. As very appreciated. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to audition. Any questions left for me, or do I slip away?
Any questions, guys?
No, no. I think I've got the information I need.
Good.
Barnaby is satisfied.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and send you back and bring up the next person.
It's a pleasure. Good luck, everyone.
Thank you. You too.
All right. Time for the last person. All right. Hello. Go ahead and introduce yourself. Welcome in. Introduce yourself and the character.
I am Eisen, and the character I had in mind is of the Vulpin-like species. I forget what it was called specifically, but
Is it an
he is
Amaran?
That would be Amaran, yeah.
okay, Amaran, and he is a ex-Republic drop trooper who joined a very specialized and dangerous job for the excitement, but unfortunately, he kind of caught the tail end of things. And during his last mission, basically became a little bit lost to basically assumed dead, but he was still basically alive behind enemy lines, and eventually made his way out to kind of just have to now figure out what the hell he's doing. And he's a little bit of a thrill seeker, so he kind of has a tendency to enjoy taking on interesting or dangerous jobs.
Unnecessary risks. Sorry. We'll get to that with the interview of the character.
Yep.
Keep going.
You mentioned a lot of stuff with ex-Republic stuff. What's he been doing in the meantime? Because that was a good almost 20 years ago. 20 years ago ish.
Well, probably his early on years were literally just hiding from, any of the people who were literally trying to kill him as the Empire was kind of rising up and getting off planet. But after that, he probably just wandered from place to place doing basically mercenary work. Not all of it necessarily dangerous, because again, he'd be like, you know what? That was interesting, because that would be part of why he was a drop trooper. He's like, starships are really cool. I wonder what it'd be like to jump out of them.
So a bit of a lore thing in case people don't know. Drop troopers are troopers who either would take a ship down to planet from orbit, or would otherwise enter orbit and then jump out of their ship and have some sort of anti-grav parachute that they would land with.
Usually in behind enemy lines or in very dangerous situations.
So, absolutely freaking insane. Okay. Yes.
All right. So, crew, do you have any questions for this auditioner?
What was the character's name again?
His name is Volrin.
Volren. Hello, Volren. Welcome to my ship. What makes you think you'd be a good fit for my crew?
Probably kick his feet up on the nearest crate or whatever,
Are the shoes
and
muddy?
just be like, well,
So
I was a drop trooper, so danger is not an issue. Doesn't matter if it's blasters or knives, I can make it happen. You ever seen someone stalk a battlefield with the techniques of a sniper, but lugging around a repeater blaster? That's kind of what I did.
you seem very sure of yourself.
comes with
I like
comes
it.
with the old job. If you're not sure of yourself, chances are you're gonna break or die.
All right. And you like going for the risk, the thrill, the excitement. of a new job, a new experience?
Definitely.
Hmm. hmm.
Like I said,
Uh,
I'll do anything from spacewalks on the outside of your ship to holding down a hallway, or pretty much blasting our way out of any danger.
all right. Vulpus, you said your name was?
Volrin.
Volrin. Sorry. Volrin. And how are you outside of combat? What are you doing during your downtime?
Well, I do like a little bit of the drink, but I can I'm pretty good at some good enough for military work repairs.
All right. Know how to keep your equipment in order then. Good.
That's where probably where most of my money goes to, trying to keep what little I have managed to keep from the old Republican working order.
And you mentioned the Republic. Uh, any old allies or enemies we may encounter in our journeys with you?
Well, if I don't know where any of them are, but I certainly have brothers from the old squad somewhere out there. As far as enemies, I'm pretty sure the Empire took care of most of the people that wanted me dead from those times. And for everyone else during the other 20 some odd years, well, I know when to finish the job, or when
Can't
someone's
have
going to be a
enemies
problem later down the line.
if no enemies survive.
Not that I go around just making a bunch of those, mind you.
Right. Of course. Of course. And how easy is your loyalty paid for?
Well, once I get a job, I tend to stick it out. Doesn't
Even
matter
if
if you're on the
someone
winning side or the losing side, because, well, either way, it could be pretty exciting.
Hmm.
Like to see the job through. Again, another thing left over from my days as a proper drop trooper.
So someone coming to you with an offer of better money would not turn you against me or my crew, correct?
Well, I mean, I might play along to see where it's going, but chances are they won't get far.
If I've paid for your loyalty, then it can be assured. Gotcha. All right.
And I don't have to be paid in just credits alone, of course.
All right. Uh, for the most part, my questions have been answered. You guys have questions for? I'm sorry, I'm
Volrin.
bad with names. Volrin?
Yes, Volrin.
You guys have questions for Volrin?
Are you someone who becomes injured frequently?
Well, definitely. Again, it kind of comes with being a frontline combatant by nature. Not that I try to, it just tends to happen.
And you're interested in any medical procedures, no matter how potentially esoteric?
Oh, I know what you Ewoks are about. Don't worry. Nothing there. I've probably experienced worse.
A challenge. Then I will find the most efficient ways, no matter the cost, to get you back into field shape.
If it works, I'll take it.
You had mentioned your equipment was largely from the old Republic. Would you say in some ways at this point that it is antiquated, or have you been working to try to keep it up to standards?
I've definitely been keeping it up to standards. Again, that's where a large chunk of my money has gone to.
Okay.
After all, keeping armor and blasters up to date and in usable
Yes, very
condition
true.
is not necessarily a cheap affair.
Good with field repairs.
Like I said, I might not be professional, he will air quote, but I can get a piece of equipment running.
Sometimes that's all you
Be
need
it a blaster or a
is
vehicle.
good. And sometimes that's all you really need is to get the equipment to run long enough to get back to the ship or back to shop.
Yep, if it's working, you're not dying.
Has the hope. Uh, Any other questions?
Good.
Are there jobs you won't do?
Hmm. That's a tough one. I guess I probably wouldn't take jobs to assault an unarmed civilian population. That is not interesting or exciting or dangerous at all. On top of the moral quandaries.
So is it for morals or is it for the lack of a thrill that you wouldn't take that job?
It can't be both.
No, some people morals can be bought.
Yeah, pretty sure I mentioned that I may be able to be bought, but money isn't my ultimate goal, so kind of hard to bribe me too much with to change my opinions about things.
Alright.
But what if I said that I needed 6 different livers and we happened to have killed 6 humanoid opponents?
Then take their livers. Hell, I'll even help cut them out if they're already dead.
Magnificent, I have what I need.
Alright, well, unless there's something anyone else has to say, I think we're done here. Yes.
Well, any last questions from our crew?
No, that's
Barnaby has none.
Well, I think I'm good.
All right. In that case, moving along to the question that I've been asking everyone, on the provided synopsis, how do you imagine your character fitting into that?
Well, I think he easily fits into what is essentially going to be the start of this campaign, pretty easily being a mercenary that could be hired. And, always good to have a frontline combatant. As or, at least someone who's potentially, as much of a tank as they are a combatant to some degree. And open-ended enough, loyalties that if the party decides to, later on down the line in the campaigns go to, oh, we seem to be leaning towards this faction or this faction, my character doesn't really have any necessarily great qualms about any of the factions per se. So it kind of leaves it open-ended for later on in the campaign.
Fair. So no hang-ups about any particular faction.
Yeah, you can kind of go with the flow with where the party takes them.
All right. And any other bits that you want to say about yourself or the character?
I always like to give my characters lots of lore and things like that. So give storytellers and stuff like that a little bit more to work with and integrate my character into the story, a bit more. And as far as me, I like to think I'm a pretty decent role player for things. And as far as my character goes, like I said, he's open-ended enough that I can still kind of tweak him to fit in a little bit more with the party if need be, as we continue and things kind of settle around. That's about it.
All right.
Thank you
But
for
yeah, a
your
little bit
time.
later, as we go on, my character will have so much background story you'll think that I wrote a goddamn novel about this boy.
That's fun.
Barnaby is a comparatively simple lad. He's an Ewok. That's all you need to know.
He is an Ewok shaman. There you go.
There you go.
Because for those who don't know, Ewok shamans, they literally do ritual, sacrifices. He's...
I don't think I actually mentioned what race I was going with. Huh. Playing an Amaran myself.
High fives, Fox friend.
Read it again. Wait, you don't have it right. Fox Fiend.
Well, because he said he was planning on playing an Amaran too if he got in.
Yeah.
Oh, right. But never mind.
Now, if Kenku was the one saying it.
Yeah, I decided to.
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
All right.
Enough people have called me Fox Friend, and
No.
my habitual response is read it again.
Alrighty.
Thank you for
Uh,
the time.
Yep. Let's go ahead
you
and
for your time.
thank our auditioner.
Thank you, Dan.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead and yeet you back to whence you came.
Alrighty, right.
All right. And those were our 4 auditioners for the new Star Wars Scar game. For those who are already in the crew, there is a channel that has been made and is available to discuss things about the audition, what you thought about each of the potential players and characters, all of that good stuff. And we're going to be having those sorts of discussions off stream, obviously.
Of course.
Of course.
Makes sense.
So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and end the recording here. Thank you to everyone for showing up, especially considering that for the crew, technically speaking, wasn't necessary. Thank you to all of the auditioners, and I hope to see all of you, dear viewers, in the game proper. And I'm going to go ahead and end this now, and I'll see all of you later.
Later.
All right.
Yes.
That was fun.